This right here is the brand new Insta360 X5, and this thing is wild. Once again, this year, Insta360 did not do an S upgrade. They upgraded everything on this camera. We have new and larger sensors in there for better low light and a pure video mode, which when you see the low light footage, your mind is going to be blown that it came from a 360 camera. We have new and replaceable lenses on there. We have a new microphone module and new microphone algorithms for even better wind reduction.
All right, let's do a little audio comparison between the Insta360 X4 and the Insta360 X5.
We now have 3 AI chips built into this thing, a new and larger, longer lasting battery. Listen, we're gonna talk about everything that is new with this X5 today, but again, they upgraded everything. Okay, the Insta360 X5. We went to Utah for 2 days of snowboarding. 1 day at Brighton, 1 day at Snowboard, and we put this thing like through its paces. We even slammed it on the ground a bunch, totally on purpose.
That was my comparison of an Insta360 X4 and X5 crashing on a mountain.
You get it on camera?
Hell yeah, 2 cameras.
To show you that, one, these lenses are tougher, but also that they are replaceable. We'll get to that in a little bit, but the footage coming out of this thing, that's the biggest deal. Look, 1/1.28 inch sensors, those are big sensors. That is 144% larger than we had on the X4. And that combined with 3 AI chips now built into this camera gives us 13.5 stops of dynamic range. That means that when I'm bombing down a mountain and the sun is right behind my head, you can still see detail in my jacket and the blue sky. The sky doesn't go white. To get that detail, you have 13.5 stops of dynamic range. It doesn't make sense that this camera can do so much. And this camera is actually creating 11K footage that is then downsampled to 8K 30, which means that we are getting tons and tons of detail in the image. When you look at footage of the X4 next to the X5, like just side by side the footage, you can see how much of a jump it is to go from half-inch sensors to 1/1.28 inch sensors. The sensor in the Ace Pro 2, that is a 1/1.3 inch sensor. So technically the sensors in here, 2 of them, are even a tiny bit larger than the Ace Pro 2 and DJI Action 5 Pro. And again, we've got 2 of them. Now, what those big sensors also give you is better low light performance. And on the X5, we now have pure video mode on a 360 camera.
This I know looks very bright on camera. It is very dark right now. Like, this is low light. These lights are barely putting anything out, just enough for us to see in here. And it looks like this. Kind of wild.
I think that there's so many times that I haven't used an action camera in low light, but I could have, or I would have, if it looked this good. So we have 8K at 30 frames a second, 5.7K at 60 frames a second, and 4K at 120 frames per second. Now, personally, I rarely go to 120 frames a second. I think 60 frames a second slow-mo looks the best and doesn't slow down too much. Like, it doesn't drop the energy of a video. But let me tell you, if you get like a good snow spray at 4K 120, it does look real cool. Okay, we will get to the replaceable lenses because I know you've seen everyone on Instagram smashing these things with a hammer, but first I want to talk about the audio. We do have a brand new microphone. Check out the microphone. See on the X4, that tiny little hole? That's the microphone, and this giant screen on the X5, that's the new microphone.
All right, let's do a little audio comparison between the Insta360 X4 and the Insta360 X5. Again, we have an upgraded microphone module in there and some new wind reduction algorithms. I'll try to yell at you while I ride this big run. Alright, going this fast down the mountain, I don't really expect it. It just sounds great, maybe because of roar noise and so much wind. Today. But how does the Insta360 X4 do with the good bit of wind blowing on it? And how does the Insta360 X5 do with a good bit of wind? That was my comparison of an Insta360 X4 and X5 crashing on a mountain.
You get it on camera?
Hell yeah, 2 cameras. All right, another killer spot for a microphone test. Right now, there's almost no wind. I'm in this kind of valley right now. I'm holding this thing out. The camera's probably 4 or 5 feet away from me right now. How does the audio sound? I have been shockingly impressed with the audio on these cameras. It's just for some reason, the microphone way out there, usually I always say, get the microphone close to you. I don't run little DJI microphones while I'm riding this camera almost ever. I usually just run it. And even when you start picking up speed and you get a little wind in your face and you're racing down a mountain, you can still hear the audio pretty dang good.
Does pretty dang good. Okay, let's talk about the lenses. You've seen everyone do it. Everyone on Instagram is taking a hammer and they are slamming their X5, but I don't have to do that to show you the replaceable lenses. And in the 2 days of snowboarding in Utah, even though we slammed these things into the ground a ton, we didn't scratch it at all. So I'm not gonna go slamming these things just to show you that they're replaceable, because I wanna keep these for later. Okay, the kit itself is a separate kit that you order, and I'm gonna keep 2 of these kits with me anywhere that we travel. Okay, here is the actual tool that you need. And inside of this little rim here is like a little wibbly wobbly shape, which matches up to that wibbly wobbly shape on the lens. That is essentially the wrench. So I can take this little wrench, line it up with that wibbly wobbliness, and just turn. And this is the actual lens unit itself that I'm replacing. So yes, we do still have those kind of screw-on dome covers to protect this lens. If you don't want to use those at all, which I almost never use those, look at this. I get a little pry tool and I'm prying. Oh, look at that. So that little bit right there, like that is the fisheye-ness, and then that's the actual lens of the X5, and then this little warpy fisheye bit goes on top of it so that you can create that like super wide angle view. So we get a little Insta360 blower with it to clean it up. We get some wipes, cleaning wipes, and a lens cloth, which you should probably do on here. And then once that looks good, and that looks good, you just drop this little bit back onto there. I'm gonna use this guy to just tamp him down. And then still on the wrench is that little ring that locks all of this in place. So that you don't cross thread, turn it the opposite way first, like lefty-loosey, and then it'll kind of sit in place. And once it sits in place, then you can turn righty-tighty and lock it back down. And then you, sir, have replaced your 360 lens, which is wild because in the past, X4, X3, X2, 1X, they all had to be sent in for replacement just to replace that bit. And here is the crazy part, probably the biggest deal. This lens replacement kit is $30. So for 30 bucks, you can keep an extra one of these in your bag when you go travel. And if your camera gets scuffed, scratched, or completely destroyed, you can replace 1 or 2, get 2 kits, replace the lenses while you're out and about, and your camera's ready to go again. Okay, a couple more things on here. New battery. The X4 has 135 minutes of battery life, which has always been like absurd battery life for an action camera that is shooting 2 minutes. But the X5 now has 185 minutes of battery life. But the cool thing is too, the quick charging. So this thing fast charges from 0 to 80% in 20 minutes. I've been keeping the dual charger in my backpack with an Anchor battery bank, and I've only done it once per day, but I take the batteries out, I put them in there, let those charge while I throw some new batteries in, and the batteries are charged in my backpack. 20 minutes later, I got basically fresh batteries ready to go. Kind of wild. So whether your battery is in here or in this cool new like dual charger they have, either spot that your battery is, you can charge it up in about 20 minutes. Again, 135 minutes on the X4, still really impressive. I usually went through 2 batteries while snowboarding, a full day of snowboarding, and now on this guy, about a battery and then about a quarter. At the end of the day, this thing was still at 75% on my second battery. We are also getting 72 megapixel photos out of this thing, and again, with those larger sensors, we just get more detail, more dynamic range, and even the pictures look more impressive than the X4. Okay, that is the Insta360 X5. Once again, they did not do an S model upgrade. They basically upgraded everything.
All right, Gabe. Oh my god. Oh my god. You got it. Oh my god. Stop your board. Oh my god. Why did we do that?
I got one more idea.
Oh my god. They're coming. Get up now. Dive, roll.